Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new Fallout 76 video. So we're back on the public test server today and having a look at the upcoming new building system, which is currently in development. Should be out in September. And I've decided to put all the free building and flexibility of the system to use to build a fishing village on stilts, the kind of thing we're seeing out in various parts of the world, but somewhat Falloutified in this case. So let's have a look at where we are on the map. So, there we go. I've forgotten to change the icon and the name of the camp, so we'll ignore that bit. But there we are, on the bottom of the lake in the Mire, near Crevice Dam, Thunderbound Power, and Braxton's Quality Medical Supply. So, yeah, a bit of a predictable place. I did think about going somewhere else, but to be honest, this is just one of the best spots for this sort of thing, really. So, this is way up in the air compared to what one would normally do. And, yeah, I mean, it's taking advantage of the relaxed building rules, because on live servers at the moment, I don't think you'd really be able to do this. I think trying to position floors and foundations up this high would be difficult without something underneath them and stairs in places that kind of ruin the effect. So, there we go. 4 floors, I should say. 2 by 2 up there. This is going to be our first building. And we're going for a fishing village vibe here. So it's going to be multiple buildings, kind of, connected by walkways. And it's staying relatively small because of the space available and stuff, but also, you know, we're going up with facetious kind of unneeded buildings otherwise, so this works quite nicely. I mean, it's sort of over 3/4 of the budget when I was done decorating as well, so all in all, it worked out at quite a good size. So, with these in place, we're just going to line up and then snap on some fortress walkways, because these make for really nice, narrow walkways. Pretty much what they're designed to do. You could use the narrow floor pieces if you wanted, but these just look a little bit more organic, a little bit more rough and ready and rustic and improvised. And the vibe we're going to go for here is that sort of lore-friendly, I've found what materials I can and dragged them back vibe that works so well in Fallout. So we're going to push on with that. Get a walkway around the outside here. And now we're going to get some stairs. Should probably have done this first in hindsight. Very annoyingly, despite the relaxed building restrictions, pushing stairs and many things, in fact, beneath the surface of the floor just will not work. And it seems like a massive oversight to me, that, and it's very, very annoying, as that should absolutely clip through the floor with no issues whatsoever if this was put together the way it should be. On the other hand, I know there's a lot of people on Discord shouting about this sort of thing, so hopefully it will get sorted before it goes live, but time is running out on that, so we'll see, I guess. Still, I managed to lift that whole thing up, and this is only a thing with the walkways, but apparently the whole thing moved together because they're snapped together, which was nice. But now we can just lift these floors up a little bit, get back in place, and they match up with everything, including the stairs, which is nice. So, ignore the walls for a minute. I'll take those all out again in a minute anyway, so we're jumping on a bit because there's a fair bit of trial and error in this one, and I would normally sort of show my working on this, but you can see from the video length there's quite long enough already, so I thought we'd kind of step along as much as reasonably possible. So my goal here is to create a way across to that floor over there, but I want it to be at a different height to everything else. Ideally, I'd like every building to be a different height, but it's not really practical with the tools available. So this one on the other side is going to be a little bit lower. Actually, my favourite of the 3 buildings, that one. Came out really well. So what we can do, as you can see, I've lined up one more of these walkways next to it. And I'm just going to use the foundation stairs here to just allow me to set something up a little bit lower using the free placement. The advantage here is the legs on this are just long enough that if you don't look too closely, they look like they're going underneath the ground on the water and they're properly supported. So we can just about get away with that. I actually nudged it down a tiny little bit during decoration and made that even more convincing, but it does the job. And I've gone for these the walkways rather, a crosswise setup, just because this is the narrowest, smallest set of stairs we've got, and the shortest set as well. So kind of make do with what we've got available. I would like something that's half the width, and you know those tiny little stairs in Fallout 4 that I used to use for absolutely everything, because you could build other staircases out of them? I still miss those things in this game. Who knows, maybe we'll get them one day. Probably when I'm on my deathbed. Anyway, now we can free place and then snap in the rest of the floors to create the base part of the second building at a different height, and it makes things a bit more interesting. In hindsight, I kind of wish I'd made this just a little bit lower, just to exaggerate the height difference a bit more, because it's not immediately obvious from a distance, and I feel like it would look a little bit better if I'd maybe dropped it a tiny little bit lower. But still, it works. So we'll get the last of this walkway round, and then we can move on. Okay, so I've extended the walkway here out, as you can see. I've just continued to snap some extra walkways on the end there, so no great rocket science there. And this building here is a single floor piece that is just free placed up against it, a little bit in from the end. Just far enough in that it will leave me room to put the staircase on the side here, which is what I wanted. So I want to reach for that little bit of ground down there, really. Because this is a fishing village, so we kind of need a way to get onto the water and to a place we can fish and so on and so forth. So I'm going to put a little dock down at the end there. But we've got to change heights for that. It does have the added bonus that it kind of creates an additional height elevation level for the build as a whole, which we want really as many of those as we practically get for this kind of design. So just going to get some more walkways in, just to get us over the water a little bit here. I don't want to go too far, and then we'll use the floating docks after that. So we need to go a little bit further out. There we go. Nice. Now we can put these docks in. And the idea is that they kind of move a little bit, so stuff doesn't necessarily quite line up, although I tweaked that a bit in the decoration as well. You notice I'm kind of being a bit careful about how I position these floating docks, because I figure the bottom of the wood there is probably about the highest up you can have them before it looks like they're floating unnaturally high, you know? The weight of the wood and the weight of the barrels is going to offset the air in the barrels to a degree and push the whole thing down, so you don't want it too far above the surface of the water if you want it to look convincing. So, that's in place. We'll come back to finishing that off later. We'll get some walls in. As you can see, I've pulled most of the walls out from before, so that's why I didn't show putting them in. And I'm going back to the pavilion set, because yes, I've been using this a lot lately because it makes a really great frame to build off of for other things. Either it works on its own right as well, but you know, you can add extra things on and build scrappy things and use the frame of the pavilion to sort of hold up the rest of the structure. And also you can get roofs on otherwise scrappy structures that way more easily without just floating them. Which is actually more doable in this update than it is on live. Not that it's impossible on live, but it's going to get a lot easier. So, there we go, that's not bad. Let's pull a few gaps out, because those half walls go right on top of each other, and they just change things up and add extra random bits of texture and detail. So, when we add some extra bits and pieces in later, it'll just add a little bit more variety. And I'm also going to do that in a couple of other places as well, but same idea, just different places. So, yeah, you should get the idea. We're going to pick the pace up a little bit here. I'm using the Pine Barrens roof set, as these look, well, they kind of fit the design. They've got that kind of slightly weathered vibe, and they're not rusted metal. So I wanted to do something that wasn't that. The grass roofs would have worked well, and I probably would have used those if I didn't have these available, but these just kind of clicked a bit better for me. Well, I am kind of quite slightly questioning that decision now. Okay, so flat roof on the single one, because that's the only option I've got if I want it to match, which it didn't really have to, I suppose, but in fact, matching is kind of a thing we're trying to avoid here. One of the fun things about this new building system is if you want to layer up walls like this, you can. So you just snap things straight over each other and you end up with weird kind of extra bars and stuff just to make it look a bit different, a bit more interesting. Add some more variety in there, which is very nice. And in this case, we're going to do that, but we're going to do it using the free placement mode. You can see the on the R at the bottom there that you can switch between snapping, which is the standard building mode, collision, which keeps most of the collision in place but disables the snapping, and free placement, which lets you just kind of do whatever the heck you like. In this case, it's going to allow us to position this nicely in, and I want to push that a little bit further forward so it looks like it's nailed on the outside. Nudge that forward just a bit. Yeah, that should do it. Nice. So, we're going to add some extra texture to these. I'm going to use some Blue Ridge pieces, which the more I'm looking at these, the more I'm thinking next time it's on the Atomic Shop, I might have to pick that Blue Ridge set up. I didn't in the past because I thought it was too similar to the warehouse set. I think there was another reason as well, but I forget what that was. That'll probably come back to me when the time comes, but still, I'm sort of using it and looking at it now, and it's got colour and a bit of interesting different texture to it that perhaps I had failed to notice, so I may pick it up for variety's sake eventually. However, the PTS currently has a whole bunch of stuff on it that I don't necessarily have, so hey, while it's there, let's take advantage, shall we? Like those walls at the back of the room we've just come out of, which will be our crafting space. They're also from the Blue Ridge set. So, we're now going to go back to boarding up holes in much the same way we did with the pre-existing structure rebuild that we did last time. If you haven't seen that one, I'll make sure I link it around, because yeah, it was nice to take that house in the Cranberry Bog and repair it and put a roof on it and turn it into a functional camp. I was really pleased with how that came out. So, yeah, you might want to check that one out for flexible things you can do with the new building system that are law-friendly. So, nudge some junk fences in. We'll use some partition walls, the more driftwood-looking ones, and some signs and all manner of bits and pieces just to plug up gaps. I'm not going to plug up all the gaps, because most of these fishing villages one sees in the real world tend to be in warmer parts of the world. So, we're not going to worry too much about it being a little drafty. Admittedly, their places are probably a bit less drafty, but it is what it is. It's post-apocalypse, and I figure I've not got much more than a hammer and a saw to build with. It's my, not exactly headcanon, but we're, you know, moving in that general direction. A little bit of plywood, more plywood bits like this, stuff to go on floors, and as well as plywood signs would be awesome to have. Something I missed from Fallout 4's modding as well. USO had a whole bunch of plywood in it that would allow us to do a lot of interesting bits and pieces and decorate things up and create all manner of interesting stuff. So we're going to push on quite rapidly now. I'll add a whole load more bits to the walls over time, and we're going to get some railings on now. You can see I've got some window boards at the back there and stuff like that to block things up with. So for the railings here, basically I'm going to go through, I'm going to grab fences and rails and even the occasional sign here and there, and just mix it up and just use stuff that looks like it's been picked up and dragged back from whatever abandoned homestead might be lying around the wasteland in various places, and just nailed on anywhere I can and try and avoid too much uniformity. Like, okay, that'll fit in that gap, so let's use that there. That kind of feeling to it. Basic one here. These become so much more versatile when you don't have to snap them as well. Like a lot of things, actually. Nice. Stick the other piece in here. And we'll continue this principle with all manner of bits and pieces all over the place, but I guess you get the general gist of where we're going now. So, let's move on to putting some legs under this thing. Now, I'm using the wall walk posts, which are from the Prickett's Fort set, along with the walkways and everything. Basically, because they're the best option we've got. The metal posts that come as part of the stair tab also won't sink onto the ground. They are the same way restricted as staircases are, which is blooming annoying, Thursday. So, yeah, that definitely needs to be corrected, because they're basically useless for this particular job. However, the perimeter wall frame here, this sinks in the ground just fine, as it has always done, which shows that they absolutely could change the stairs to do this. Thursday. And this actually just kind of creates a set of supports that are a different style and shape, and again gives it that Fallout improvised vibe. It's not really consistent with the sort of thing we see in various parts of the world in real life, but it does mix things up a little bit for the Fallout setting. Using a few junk fences as well, again for the same reason, just variety, make it look like it's supported with whatever we could. And I'm moving this one just because it didn't quite meet the surface of the water in the right way to look convincing. So, that is pretty much the structural elements, notwithstanding a bit of repetition anyway. So that should give you the essentials to build something similar should you want to. And in the meantime, we'll put a couple of last bits on to support this walkway. And then I will head off and decorate like crazy. And we'll do a tour on this in just a moment. So, BRB. And here we go. Much decoration later. One fishing village on stilts and stuff to avoid the floods. Got a little boat out the back there. A few extra bits and pieces added around. I couldn't find on the PTS at least the stack of chopped logs that are a producer that I wanted to put by my little chopping block there, but oh well. As you can see, lots of mixed-up textures, just scrappiness and improvised look to the thing, like it's been built out of whatever bits of rubbish they can find and drag back and nail to the walls and such. All in all, to build a nice, supported, hopefully, Stilt Village type thing. And we're doing the very Bethesda thing and stretching the definition of village. You know, it implies a village, but it's really way too small to be one. Much like the towns in, well, any Bethesda game that has towns, actually. Still, you get the idea. And it's a functional camp, which is the other thing that's always important to me. I didn't originally want to put gates on this, but I figured any, well, land-based foe might just try and run straight up the stairs and cause all manner of trouble, so gates will help keep them out. But there we go, our crafting room. I've squeezed all my benches apart from the cooking station in here. And added a ton of decoration around them, just details on details. Gone for a bit more of a colourful power armour station this time, because I saw it in somebody's build recently and was inspired, I suppose. Brewing station in the corner. That thing is usually far too large to be practical, but it worked quite nicely in here. The fermenter's just tucked in the back there. It doesn't really need animation access, so that works. Different chemistry station with the Robo Brain there, just to mix up my usual choices. Options on Tinker's benches and weapons workbenches are a bit... well, they didn't fit this build, shall we say. The other ones, there's all the Camden Park ones and the taxidermy Tinker's bench, and that didn't look right. And the other weapons bench options weren't rustic enough either, so I went for the one that I've got there. A few bits of detail on the outside walls. There's our little player vending spot. I thought about using that back room over there for a vendor, and it would have worked well, I think, but I'd already done this by then, so I quite like having that sort of spot in the middle. It works quite nicely. It's easy to find, easy to spot, and yeah, adds a nice splash of colour in the middle. I'll go around the side here because I love how this sort of living space over there has come out. With the blinds in particular, I really like how that looks. It's just two sets of blinds on each side, free-handed into place, and it works really, really nicely. I did this last time as well, but as an outside gate. Stacked up two of these corrugated metal gates, one on top of the other, merged them together using the free placement, and creates kind of a nice little door. A bit of variety. I absolutely love this lounge area. Part of me thinks I might have seen somebody else do something similar with the blinds somewhere, but I can't for the life of me remember where if I did, so... if that's what happened, great. Credit to that anonymous person that I can't remember. Otherwise, maybe I came up with it myself and I'm imagining things. I really don't know at this point, but I do like the way it looks anyway. Nice little cosy bed in the corner. Reasonably nice and comfortable. I'll take one with some covers and stuff on it. I haven't used that in a while. A few fishing bits and pieces around. Quite happy with my little kitchen here as well. It's just one of the long tables. I flipped one of the signs around. I can't remember which one exactly, but one of the sheriff or blacksmith or something like that. And just free-handed that in under the table to create a front surface. That more or less works. Everything here didn't need merge glitch, didn't need anything fancy. I just went to free placement and just put it straight in. No problem. Just a little careful positioning was all that was required. Yeah, I really like this little area. Happy with that living space. But for the draft, it'd be a pretty nice place to stay, I think. I'll assume it's nice and warm. Don't currently have that bench either, but it looks quite nice. So, nice to have a little look around there. Got a flag in the middle. Figure if the water level rises, it doesn't really matter if the bottom of the flagpole gets wet. A little seating area out here. We've got a couple of solar panels in. You can't really see it unless I happen to just catch it at the right angle, which I didn't. But at the back corner of the crafting room there, I've actually put one of the solar panels in as well, had it clip through the roof, and you can't see it because it's behind the bench. There you go, at the top. It's behind the brewing station, so you can't really see it's there, but it does the job quite nicely. It just looks like it's built in. It doesn't look like it's floating, even though it technically is, because it's hidden by the workbench. So, coming on down here, I actually changed this one up at the last minute. Put a little toilet in. This is the outhouse, just lifted up into the air, because we can do that in the future version of the building system. And free-handed door on the front as well. And then I built some stuff underneath it to make it look like it wasn't floating, which is basically some chain link fences, actually. So, outside of using it for a vendor space, I didn't really know what to do with this little hut, so I decided just to shove a load of stuff in there that looked like it was being used as storage space. Most of it's stash boxes, but there's a few other random bits and pieces in there as well. And yeah, I think it looks alright. Open up the back gate. That please close the door sign was definitely on the wall when I last looked at it. Sometimes things that you freehand in using free placement won't necessarily stay quite where they were put when you reload your world, I guess. And the live bait thing clipping through the step was definitely an oversight. I'll concede I screwed that one up. Little fishing spot at the end of the dock. I do quite like that. This boat is actually from the paid Atomic fishing bundle thing that Bethesda hooked me up with a while ago. Same as the bait barrel, actually. And there is a slightly less colourful version of it that is in the Atomic shop as well, I believe. That door is not normally on there. I just sort of free placed it in because actually it's right at the very limit of the build area and I can't decorate anywhere further forward of that. So I'm hiding it behind a door. I think it works quite well. Got a couple of bits down here. Basically, it's all about getting down to the fishing dock. Yeah. I'll meander on up. I haven't actually powered the purifier down there, but it makes a lot of noise and it's kind of annoying. Another good option for power, by the way, might have been to replace that flag with a windmill in the middle. That would have looked quite cool if we got the right ones. But I decided to stick with the flag. I really like that living space. Definitely a favourite of mine. Picture of that going up on Instagram if you want to check it out. Yeah, very, very happy with this. So, one fishing village. Hope you enjoyed that one. If you did, you know where the buttons are. Likes and subs down below. I do appreciate notification bell if you want to keep up to date with the uploads. And social media links in the description if you actually want to get notified when I upload, because apparently YouTube doesn't do that. And if you get a chance, join us for live streams as well. Of course, check out 76. We've got a couple of other games on the go as well, which should be good fun. So join us for that if you get a chance. But for now, I want to say thank you very much for watching. I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.